Number 89, Othering.
Ooh, this one's good. I like this one. Okay. I don't like doing it, but I like the what we're about to discuss. Othering, 89. Also, otherizing, they're not like us. Stereotyping, xenophobia, racism, prejudice. A badly corrupted, discriminatory argument from ethos where facts, arguments, experiences, or objections are arbitrarily discarded, ignored, or put down without serious consideration because those involved are not like us or don't think like us. Example, it's okay for Mexicans to earn a buck an hour in the maquiladoras, Mexican-based twin plants run by American or other foreign corporations. If it happened here, I'd call it brutal exploitation and daylight robbery, but south of the border, down Mexico, the way is like us. Or you claim that life must be really terrible over there for terrorists to ever think of blowing themselves up with suicide vests just to make a point, but always remember that they're different from us. They don't think about life and death the same way we do. A vicious variety of the ad hominem fallacy, most often applied to non-white or non-Christian populations. A variation of this on this fallacy is the speaky fallacy. Use speaky to English, also the shibboleth, in which an opponent's arguments are mocked, ridiculed, and dismayed solely because of the speaker's alleged or real accent, dialect, or lack of fluency in standard English. Example, he told me, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to be reading this out loud. He told me we workers need to form a union, but I told him I am not a worker and to come back when he learns to speak proper English. Ah. A very dangerous, extreme example of othering is dehumanization, a fallacy of faulty analogy where opponents are dismissed as mere cockroaches, lice, apes, monkeys, rats, weasels, or blood-sucking parasites who have no right to speak or to live at all and probably should be squashed like bugs. This fallacy is ultimately the logic behind ethnic cleansing, genocide, and gas ovens. See also the identity fallacy, name calling, and olfactory rhetoric. The opposite of this fallacy is the Pollyanny principle below. Oh man, this is a really heavy one. I pull back my statement and I'm excited about it. Oh, I've heard specifically where we grew up. Um, Man, I've heard this one a lot. Specifically, like I think we're in like northern well, I don't want to stereotype an entire area, but I'll say this that where I grew up, it was not uncommon for specifically let's go to this fallacy, othering. It was not uncommon to specifically other Mexicans without any consideration for like if the person may have been Colombian or like any other like Central or Southern American, you know, uh nationality. It was like anyone who's from down there who has a Hispanic accent is Mexican.
That
And
is true.
then
There were very, because it was predominantly white where we grew up. It wasn't like
predominantly
100%, but like way more than you get now that I'm sure you moving to Texas, there's a lot more people of color, and especially in Los Angeles, holy moly, it's the rainbow over here. Um, but
yeah.
oh my gosh, no, yeah, because the I would have friends that were Ecuadorian, and there's like no, they're Mexican. Everyone that's brown is Mexican.
Yeah. But I remember a big part that for me it took a lot of time because like it was so the thing is with othering in particular and dehumanization, it becomes such a channel for hate. So it's kind of like I feel like it's the same thing as how a lot of people use alcohol in sports. It's like they channel all this anger they have either towards themselves, their lives, their loved ones, and rather than deal with it and heal from it, address it, process it effectively, they're like, man, fuck those Broncos. They're just like they just get so into like channeling that energy into, hating another team. Like it never made sense to me when like Michigan State and Ohio State like we had people that we knew that were just like if they were for Ohio State they hated Michigan people and vice versa. I'm like you don't even know them. How could you hate them? So it's like the that same level of energy, that hate energy growing up was really applied specifically towards I remember so the two big othering or dehumanization things that existed was it was like Mexicans this was the stereotyping or this was the thing. It was like Mexicans are stupid or uneducated, and that was just a blanket thing because they would speak with an accent, and so it was like, oh, because they can't speak clear English. And I remember the words clear English like being underlined and italicized and bolded, like that somehow made them less intelligent. It somehow made them whatever. And as a child, like you hear that kind of thing, and it's like when you see your parents, people you trust, really applying so much anger and hate towards this group. Like as a child, you're like, oh, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, the when this person speaks and they use English, they don't use the same words that I would typically use or that my family would use. And they also don't speak totally grammatically correct. So yeah, I guess they are stupid. Yeah, these are dumb people, and it's like it bled in as a young child. And then I remember also oh my goodness, like the other one was with othering was I remember I was taught or conditioned that black people are lazy was like the rhetoric around that. So it was like it created this unconscious like imprint of like, hey, before you ever get to know anyone who has these two skin color types and or language patterns, um, these language patterns are associated with laziness and stupidity. And it's like I remember, I mean, even to this day, if I hear um, if I hear like different accents other than a quote unquote uh like clear clean Midwestern accent, there's this little whisper in the back of my head that begins to say like, oh, that person's not educated, or oh, that person, it's funny, oh, that person's not educated, oh, that person isn't as smart. And it's something to this day that like and I have no doubt that one day it will be completely gone. However, like fully admitting that othering and dehumanization, and bits and pieces of the speaky, fallacy, this, yeah, it it still whispers in the back of my head that each time it comes up, it's like I get to take a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, and then like release that, and then come right back to presence with the person in front of me as a human being, because of the amount of hate that gets channeled using these fallacies. So that's kind of my overall experience of this one.
Because especially when it comes to people that are, uh, English is not their first language. Like they know more languages than you do. Like they're
Yeah,
probably smarter than you.
yeah.
Sarah, what are your thoughts?
Oh, I have lots of thoughts. Um, I know you guys try to not, get political on this channel, but
So as far as political goes, as long as we're not stating exactly like this side is right, this side is wrong,
okay.
but we can say which side is doing the fallacy,
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
fine.
Okay. Yeah, because I was gonna say I'm seeing this a lot with the current administration. Very, very blatant. Not even trying to like hide it, basically. Um, yeah, it's just sad. And I actually saw a video last night on on TikTok of someone is on vacation in another country, and which I didn't realize that there's actually like there's another Georgia that's not in the United States. I learned that last night, so that was fun. Um, but so this person's on vacation in this other country, and the like store employee has an accent. You can't really tell, it's not like a blatant accent. And the customer was like, "We speak English here." And I was just like, "Dude, you're on vacation in another country. What do you mean?" Like that's just,
Mm.
I feel like it's just so normalized now because of the current administration that more people are doing this. And where I live right now, we have a lot of Asian and Indian people,
Yeah.
um, which is not bad. Like I was never really conditioned to think less of those people, but sometimes my dad will say things like, "Oh, but of course it's from China," or like they're Asian. I'm like, "What does that have to do with anything?" Like I went to a fair just this past weekend, and I was telling my dad about like some of the like craft booths that were there, and
Yeah.
he was like, "Oh, I bet they're all they're all stuff that they just import from China." And I'm like, "Well, no, they like actually make the stuff." Like
Mm.
way to just like stereotype, you know? So I feel like this is actually perfect timing to be talking about this because I just had these experiences. But yeah, those are my thoughts.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, this is a big example of outgroup bias, obviously. And literally just the other day on Facebook, I was talking to somebody about the genocide going on in Gaza and uh, how the United States is funding it. And their actual response was, yeah, but those people always just blow each other up, so it doesn't matter what we do. Whether we fund it or not, they're still just going to blow each other up, so why should I care? Holy shit. Can you other any harder than that?
Mm.
Probably. There's always new lows. Um,
Yeah.
I was gonna say don't jinx it, 'cause yeah.
dehumanization and othering is going on right now with the concentration camps in Florida with alligator Alcatraz. Um, oh my gosh, just some of the stories I'm hearing about the living conditions there. It's like, can you be more blatant about doing deliberate concentration camps in the United States is absolutely disgusting. Um, yeah, uh, this one just happens all the time. There's not much I could say that hasn't already been very well said by Alan and Sarah. Um, However, the autistic side of me that's like, hey, there's a technical thing here that you gotta say isn't necessarily true is coming out. Um, the dehumanization when it talks about dismissing people as mere cockroaches, lice, apes, monkeys, rats, weasels, so on. Um, Awful, but also humans are apes, and we are also monkeys. So, like, if
Bryce
you
had a whole
want,
discussion about this with one of my friends the other day, and it was like 22 comments of them going back and forth, and I'm like, "Oh my God, okay."
yeah. So, what I learned in school with like it's one of those things where like the more you learn, you like flip one side, and then the more you learn, it's actually the other. So if you go up to a child, they might call a chimpanzee a monkey, and then in school you're like, learn, no, 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 monkeys have tails and apes do not. And then you learn a little bit more about anthropology and taxonomy, and then you're like, oh, wait a minute, all apes are actually nested within the phylum of Simiiformes, which are monkeys. So technically, apes actually are monkeys. And it's like, oh, so they are monkeys after all. But it is to be more specific. Um, Yeah, being a monkey means that you have two pectoral mammae, that you have binocular vision, and that you are also smarter than the other primates. And so, you not being a monkey would mean that you are less human. So, you shouldn't take being a monkey or taking an ape to mean less human, because you are those things in the same way that not being a mammal would also make you less human. So, that's how that goes. Anyways, that is the I just have to do that. But
I want
otherwise,
to can I share a
yeah,
couple of final thoughts on this one?
yes, go ahead, please.
One, I really appreciated this one. Just because it brought into more of my conscious awareness the no speaky. It brought into my conscious awareness that, oh, there is a tendency it's kind of like I've always been aware that when I hear someone speaking in an accent of some kind, speaking English with an accent of some kind, I've always had this like dynamic within me that my reaction is, oh, that person's less intelligent. But it's never been like called out directly by, a fallacy as an example. And so now it's like, oh shit, that's like, so by me like reading that out loud, what it really lets me now do is in my conscious awareness like really begin to like in a sense target the awareness on that, target the rewriting of that one. And so for me right now is the next time I go to communicate with somebody who ends up having an accent, like really engage in in-depth conversation with them intentionally, just so that I can really humanize them as much as possible, so that I can like very much through real experience prove any reaction inside of my system wrong, just to give that some action. And then the second thing that's coming up for me on this one overall, this as a closing thing, is I find it fascinating because although these fallacies are like they're fallacies and they're ways of thinking that are fallacious, they're informed by emotional cues. So as I said earlier, how beer and sports becomes a channel for anger that's already present to come out in some way, shape, or form. Um, I believe so is the act of othering or dehumanization or the no speaky. It's like what ends up happening is the anger and the frustration, the judgment, whatever is already present. It's just these things become channels for people to pour that into. And so for me, the thing that it kind of like pops into my awareness is, as you mentioned, we're all monkeys. It's like, man, I find it fascinating that I find it fascinating that more people uh, aren't, when they experience a flare up of anger, regardless of what they are channeling that into, are not questioning the anger, the judgment, the xenophobia, as it comes up. And so to me, this gives me more of a additional piece of evidence to look at any time. And it's happened multiple times on this show with Bryce and I, where he'll say something and I'll notice I get fucking pissed. I'm like, no, you can't say that. And then I'm like, oh shit, hang on a second. I got pissed out of nowhere. Let's evaluate that. And so it's like I think for me, this is just giving me another poke at, hey, just remember that um, the fallacy expressing itself is, in this instance, I believe, is more evidence of, in a sense, the petals or the leaves of the flower than it is of the actual root, which I believe is just anger that's going unaddressed and then projected onto something as a scapegoat.
Awesome, Alan. I love your ability to self-reflect and the relentless force of finding a way to take everything and turn it into a growing experience for yourself. I think that is awesome.
Thanks,
All
man.
right.
Appreciate that.
Yes.